So Politico is out with some new reporting about the forthcoming Biden cabinet that honestly sort of makes me want to puke. Take a look here. Biden-land is apparently vetting a bunch of Republicans to potentially serve in his cabinet. Here's that report. Quote, among the names being floated for possible Biden cabinet posts are Meg Whitman, the CEO of Quibi and former CEO of eBay, former Ohio Governor John Kasich, both of whom spoke at August Democratic National Convention, Massachusetts GOP Governor Charlie Baker, and former Senator Jeff Flake have also been mentioned, as has former Representative Charlie Dent, who resigned from Congress in 2018 and became a lobbyist. Awesome. No surprise, of course. A number of these folks were given prime speaking slots at the DNC, even as nearly every prominent progressive was completely sidelined. Cindy McCain has already been named to the Biden transition team, and they've excitedly touted endorsements from such Republican horribles as former Michigan Governor Rick Snyder, who poisoned an entire American city, and former Secretary of State Colin Powell, who helped lie us into war and justified atrocities. These Republican never-Trumpers, cited in the Politico piece as potential Biden cabinet members, are being framed as potential unity picks to bring the country together. First of all, ask any actual Trump supporter whether they feel that Jeff Flake is a peace offering. Just see what kind of response you get there. Second, somehow, all these peace offerings and unity never seems to be extended to the left of the party. We all just accept that as a given because, of course, the Democratic Party despises everyone to the left of Larry Summers. But it really is remarkable that the Biden team isn't even pretending to consider one single person from Bernie world for a cabinet post. Not one. The closest they will get is pretending to consider Elizabeth Warren, even though apparently the Republicans in Massachusetts, like Charlie Baker, are more likely to actually get the nod than any even vaguely progressive politicians from that state. Call me crazy, but it seems to me like maybe at a time of massive economic turmoil, you ought to look into some folks who have got a larger scale change and vision in mind. Maybe, as we've watched uprisings by a lot of people who are sick of being relegated to a permanent underclass, you ought to consult with some folks who've got thoughts on how to get everyone a stake in this economy and democracy. What I'm really getting at here is that while you can call Jeff Flake and John Kasich centrist and moderate all you want, the truth is, they're actually wildly out of step with mainstream American public opinion, especially right now. They are the true radicals, and any discussion of their inclusion in a Biden cabinet or any administration should reflect that. After all, these people have never seen a corporate tax cut they didn't love or a social program they didn't want to dismantle. I would say that these extremists are hell-bent on destroying the country, but their decades of zombie Reaganism have pretty much already accomplished that task. Now you might be thinking, come on, Krystal, you're letting your ideology cloud your thinking. Well, take a look at a few numbers here and you tell me what is the mainstream of American public opinion. We have justifiably, in my view, given Joe Biden a lot of flack for his comments that nothing will fundamentally change under his administration. But this is really the standard issue conservative view. Nibble around the edges, make small incremental changes, all while corporate and Wall Street power runs rampant. Well, guess who absolutely rejects this approach to politics right now? Pretty much everyone, as it turns out. A new PRRI study found that a full 79% of Americans believe that the country has gotten so off track that we need major policy changes to help everyday Americans. That included majorities from literally every demographic group that they tested. Even 62% of Republicans, the very group that John Kasich and co are meant to appeal to, at this point feel a major overhaul is necessary. But you might say, that phrasing's kind of squishy. Perhaps the major policy change to help everyday Americans that Republicans have in mind is like a cool corporate tax cut and some licensing deregulation. Well, my friends, they tested out some very specific universal policy changes. Let me give you the details there. Among all Americans, 83% support universal access to affordable childcare. That includes 71% of Republicans. 70% support guaranteeing all Americans a universal minimum income, including, again, a majority of Republicans. Now, the other two policies they tested did have stronger partisan differences, but were still supported by nearly 2-to-1 majorities. 63% of all Americans support free public college for all. 62% support Medicare for all. By the way, in spite of Biden and others spending hours beating up on Medicare for all during the Democratic primary, that policy enjoys 87% support among Democrats, which is as close to unanimous agreement as you are likely to find. UBI, free college, Medicare for all. These are all mainstream, popular positions, which have never been more needed as we try to climb out of a pandemic recession that has ripped open our already gaping inequalities. And here's one more for you. According to New York Times Siena poll, 72% of people support a $2 trillion stimulus to help rescue American workers right now. Now, try pulling the crap that people like Kasich and Flake support and see what you find. Go ahead, give it a shot. How does cutting Social Security poll as these Republican extremists propose? Well, in fact, a full 74% of Americans oppose any sort of reduction in Social Security benefits. What about their corporate tax cuts? Well, large majorities believe corporations already pay too little in taxes. Union busting, like what Kasich did when he was governor of Ohio, labor unions have never been more popular in modern history. On economic issue after issue, these libertarian extremists have seen their radical ideas rejected wholesale by the American public. You know, I guess I should just accept it, just get over it, and accept the fact that the best we can hope for is a somewhat slower decline with slightly less pain for people who are struggling. But I just can't seem to get over the fact that the American people are crying out for change. The country desperately needs it, just like we did on the eve of the New Deal programs. And the very best that we're being offered or are even allowed to ask for is a unity cabinet with John Kasich. We'll have more rising for you after this.